Hey friends, Cowboy Jobu here with the Jobu Sports Report. And as always, thank you, and you for subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report. And if you haven't joined in, click on the picture of me and Sean Lee so that way you can be part of spreading the mojo. And don't forget, tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern, we'll be live streaming for an hour talking about what else? The Dallas Cowboys. Speaking of always talking about the Dallas Cowboys, let's talk about First Take. And of course, it's all Romo. And they're talking about what is the best fit for Romo. Some people think it's the Houston Texans, but Damien Woody thinks retirement might be the thing. Let's roll the tape.
Sweepstakes are underway, and the Vegas odds are out for America's favorite backup quarterback. Bovada says Denver has the best shot to land him at 3-1 odds, followed by Kansas City, Houston, then Dallas with 6-1 odds. Damien Woody in the house, ready to spit flames. As always, good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, same here. Max, now you running too? You like Stephen A. running. Man, we got to stop all this.
Never that.
Okay.
Never that. Never ran, never will.
Okay.
I am going to start with you here, the Cowboy fan, on this one. Which team is the best fit for Tony Romo next season?
You should probably just give me the segment, go to break.
Okay.
Oh, whoa.
Because, well, I mean, if you have an answer that is anything but the one I'm about to offer, it just defies the imagination. Tony Romo should be on the Houston Texans yesterday.
Okay.
Yesterday. Let me tell you why. This team, the Houston Texans, is primed to play as a Super Bowl contender next year. Number one defense in the league. Number two, number 8 rushing attack in the league. Number 3, windows closed. This doesn't last forever. All you need as the Texans is 2 or 3 good years of Romo, Damien, and you're looking at a Super Bowl. You're looking at hoisting a Lombardi trophy. Tony Romo's the best bet you could make over the next 2 to 3 years. And the only reason, this team went 9-7 with Brock Osweiler and Savage as their quarterbacks. This team went to the playoffs with those 2 guys. You add Romo, let's just keep this non-controversial for the moment, top 10 quarterback over the last 10 years. I would hold out top 5, but let's not fight. Top 10 over the last 10 years, and you make the Houston Texans a Super Bowl contender. This should have happened yesterday, and shame on the Texans if they don't make it happen tomorrow.
2 to 3 years, Will? How about 2 to 3 games? Every time Romo turns around, a clavicle or a vertebrae is breaking or slipping. He can't stay healthy. Now, if you want to say the best landing spot should he leave Dallas, you're absolutely right. It's Houston. And they would stick it to the Cowboys in the state of Texas. That would be amazing. Houston's only a quarterback away. You identified that. You don't have to give up anything for Romo. Just the cash, and who knows how much. And what's the downside for Houston? Romo gets hurt? All right, they have Savage or Osweiler. They have those guys anyway. So there's very little downside. Hopefully Romo, when he gets hurt, it's in the middle of the season, gets healthy for the playoffs, and they can make a Super Bowl run. That would be amazing, sure, if he leaves. But who says he has to leave Dallas? Everyone talks about the kind of line item that Tony Romo costs Dallas in terms of the cap. But they don't have to pay Dak yet. So when you think about the overall expenditure on the quarterback position, it would remain the same or maybe go down, right? I mean, they don't need to worry about paying Dak at this moment in time. And Dak plays in the NFL, so there's no guarantee of his health. And who knows the Dallas Cowboys offense better than Tony Romo? In fact, the best place for Tony Romo is on the Dallas Cowboys bench. That is the best fit for him because should anything happen to Dak Prescott, should he regress in any way or get hurt, you can still win a Super Bowl if you got Romo healthy for the playoffs. And at any rate, you have the best backup in the league by far in Romo. If he leaves Houston, yes, but who says he should leave?
Okay, I hear both y'all. I want to preface what I'm about to say by saying this. I think Romo should retire. I really do. I think, when you look at Romo the past couple of years, couple back surgeries, couple clavicle injuries, I'm just thinking about long-term Tony Romo, the health of Tony Romo. I think he should retire. Now, for the sake of the segment, Will, I'm going to have to agree with you. I think the Houston Texans make the most sense. Listen, the last time
we still owe Brock Osweiler $16 million in guaranteed money. So is it realistic?
That's not the question. I'm just speaking purely what would be the best fit for Tony Romo. When you look at the Houston Texans, the last time we saw the Houston Texans in the playoffs, this was a team, especially on the defensive side, that was giving Tom Brady fits on the defensive side, being able to get after Tom Brady, in the passing game. Team that didn't even have a 3-time defensive player of the year J.J. Watt the whole year and arguably had the best defense in the National Football League. They have pieces on offense. They have an offensive-minded head coach in Billy O'Brien. You add Tony Romo in the mix. Now, I know the big if is availability. We always talk about the National Football League. The best ability is availability. That's a huge question mark. But if you're able to acquire Tony Romo and restructure a quarterback or get him to a team-friendly deal, plug him in to that offense in Houston, this is a team in a division that I consider weak. It's a weak division. This is a team that could be definitely a contender in the AFC. I'm never going to pick anyone over the Patriots because the Patriots are the gold standard in the AFC. But like I said, we saw what the Houston Texans look like against the Patriots. Obviously, the quarterback position hindered them tremendously in that divisional round against the Patriots.
So, Damian, but if you want him to retire because of his health, which I think there's some wisdom there, why make him the starting quarterback somewhere else? Well, where he will certainly be hurt at some point during the year. These are recurring injuries with him, and they're serious. Why not stay right where he is on the Dallas Cowboys bench, where his health is protected, and should the need arise, there he is for you. Why should he leave it all?
Here's the reason, Max, is because the Cowboys have cap troubles. Because, yes, you're right, the Cowboys did plan on having Tony Romo on this team beyond this past year. But now that they don't need him, they need that space to make up for other cap problems. 3 of their starting 4 defensive backs are up in free agency. They were, I don't know what they were, but they were the team with the most over the cap in the entire NFL. They're going to be able to get it done. They restructured Travis Frederick. They restructured a couple other guys to get it under, but they need that space to keep guys going. A couple other points of what you guys brought up. First of all, Molly on Brock Osweiler and the money.
The money, yeah.
The answer is this: shoot or shoot. If you're afraid to win a Super Bowl, if you're afraid
You're
to
all
come
about
back to the
firing
table,
today, Will.
look, if Brock Osweiler scared you off, you weren't meant to win a Super Bowl anyway. If you think I struck out on Brock Osweiler, I better not go back to the table and ante back up for another quarterback. Well, the Houston Texans shouldn't be playing for Super Bowls anyway. They should be honest with their fan base. We're just out here floating up in middle space. That's what we're going to do for the next couple of years.
Will, what was the Cowboys' problem the last couple of years?
Okay,
really?
Listen to me now.
It was a lack of a backup quarterback. They didn't have a backup. You got one now. It's just not the guy you thought it was. You want to get rid of it?
Max, here's the reason why I don't see Tony Romo being the backup quarterback. Obviously, I think for financial reasons, I don't think that's going to happen. But as a former player, and you can ask any player, any former athlete playing, the worst thing that you could be is injured on a team. You know why? Because you don't feel part of the team. While you're rehabbing, the team is off doing something else. And can you imagine the way Tony Romo felt last year when he's hurt and the Dallas Cowboys are just excelling the whole time? That eats at a competitor. So if you're Tony Romo, do you really want to sit behind Dak Prescott again, knowing that you've been the man in Dallas for years and years? You don't want to ride off into the sunset being a backup quarterback.
All right, Damian,
That's
how
not
many weeks does
the competitor. Tony Romo is not going to lay down and do that.
How many weeks does Tony Romo get into the next season as the Houston starter before he's hurt? Probably out for the year, or at least some significant amount of time.
I can't tell the future, but for the sake of
me neither, but I guess 3 or 4 weeks.
Well, for the sake of this segment right here, we're talking about, okay, if Tony Romo is healthy, what's the best fit? To me, it's the Houston Texans.
It's not just if he's healthy.
Yes, if Tony Romo's healthy, sure, yes, go to Houston, win a Super Bowl. They might.
You have defeated yourself in that argument because you pointed out the Houston Texans have Brock Osweiler and Tom Savage behind Romo. They have apparently their plan A right now that they simply move to a plan B if they have Romo. And let me just address Dr. Kellerman and Dr. Woody for a moment on Tony Romo's injury history. Tony Romo doesn't have Yao Ming's feet. He doesn't have Tracy McGrady's ankles. This is not a degenerative, chronic condition. Max, I've had
The last time I checked, anytime you keep opening up somebody's back, it's only going to get worse.
Okay, listen.
Like a back injury is debilitating.
Let Dr. Kane speak.
Yeah, go ahead,
Max wants to let me speak because he thinks I'm going to go ahead and end myself on this argument. Here's the thing. I don't think Tony Romo has osteoporosis either, Max. He's had 2 clavicle injuries and a back injury. By the way, none of the back injuries have been related to each other. Do older guys get hurt more often than young guys? Yes, but that doesn't make Tony Romo any different than any other 36, 37-year-old quarterback. I just think this Tony Romo is a fragile piece of paper mache argument that kids keep running out here is a little bit overplayed.
Wasn't
Why?
that a
What's
paper
overplayed?
mache
If you're
cover?
Have you ever had
field.
slip
If you're
discs?
not on the field, what's overplayed about it?
Well, you
like
just
I said,
you just said
the best ability is availability. Has Tony Romo been available?
You just
no,
said,
he hasn't been available.
that's right, and you have told me what happened over the last 2 years, but you just admitted you can't see the future. And what I'm telling you is those injuries don't tell you what's going to happen next year. The way to protect Tony Romo is this. We saw it in 2014 with the Cowboys.
What, to put him in a bubble?
Run the ball over and over and over and play keep away and defense. The Houston
You
Texans.
don't think the Dallas Cowboys did
The
that?
Houston Texans can do that. Lamar
So the
Miller
Dallas
over
Cowboys
and over
can't
and
do
over.
that?
Defense.
Behind the
No,
best
Lamar Miller is
offensive line in
not
football?
Ezekiel Elliott.